We are watching a transition in technology right now. We are moving from passive tools waiting for input to active systems navigating complex environments. For years, generative AI has operated as a strictly reactive and stateless layer. You provide a prompt, and it generates text or images based entirely on what you asked. Its work ends at generation. It holds no memory of previous tasks, and it initiates nothing. Agentic AI operates differently. These systems are proactive and stateful. You give an agent a high-level goal, and it reasons through the problem, breaks it down into a sequence of steps, and executes a multi-stage workflow to achieve the desired outcome. These systems autonomously investigate system alerts, call out to external APIs, restart offline services, and resolve complex IT tickets. In finance, they are processing 47-step workflows to compile compliant, multi-source reports without human intervention. This agency introduces a heavy trade-off. Integration means embedding a decision-making entity directly into production. If an agent is going to resolve a ticket or issue a payment, it needs credentials. It needs access to your production data, your internal wikis, and your software tools. An improperly permissioned agent taking the wrong action at machine speed is a massive vulnerability. The priority has shifted. Success depends on engineering a perimeter where it is safe for those models to take action. For many teams, the immediate temptation is to wire these agents up to public, cloud-based APIs. The appeal is obvious. You get massive scale and prototype a working agent in an afternoon. That speed comes with a catastrophic risk. When an agent is working through a complex, multi-step problem, it is passing chunks of your proprietary enterprise data, your system logs, and your internal reasoning through a third-party endpoint. In healthcare, feeding patient histories into a public model to draft clinical summaries violates HIPAA. In banking, sending transaction logs out for fraud analysis breaches strict data privacy mandates. This creates a difficult bind for CTOs and enterprise architects. You need the efficiency gains of agentic workflows, but you cannot deploy them if they create a fragmented, unsecured mess across public networks. Relying on public AI infrastructure for core business automation turns a strategic capability into a major regulatory liability. To solve this, organizations typically explore two extreme ends of the architectural spectrum. The first is to build from scratch. This means your engineers are defining custom planning logic, writing specialized tool integrations, and hard-coding strict safety guardrails directly into the agent. Taking the build path gives you absolute control over the workflow. You get hyper-specialized behavior that matches your exact internal operations. The drawback is the timeline. Building from scratch requires intense engineering effort, ongoing maintenance, and the retention of highly specialized AI talent. It takes months before you see any return on investment. This 2x2 chart maps the decision. At the opposite end, we have the reuse path, sitting in the low engineering and low uniqueness quadrant. This involves deploying vendor-supplied commodity agents for standard tasks. Reusing off-the-shelf agents gives you immediate working patterns. You bypass the complex development phase and dramatically accelerate your time to market. However, you are trading control for speed. These agents rely on rigid logic that struggles to adapt to your specific business rules, offering zero competitive differentiation. Neither extreme is ideal. Both approaches force a compromise between operational agility and proprietary specialization. The reality for most enterprises is a hybrid approach. You mix custom-built, highly specialized agents for your core IP and utilize off-the-shelf components for standard administrative tasks. While hybrid offers a practical balance, it naturally leads to isolated systems. You end up with a collection of disconnected, point-to-point solutions that cannot communicate with one another. This diagram illustrates the necessary fix, an application orchestration layer. This central hub manages the timing and sequencing. It routes data sequentially, allowing the output tensor of one agent to seamlessly become the input parameter for the next chain. Connected to this hub is the memory module, persisting conversational context across multi-turn dialogues. Above the orchestrator sits the agentic layer, a reasoning engine that autonomously selects and executes external tools like an SQL search. And critically, the orchestration layer integrates with the RAG module. This executes similarity searches against two vector databases, pulling real-time, external context to ground responses. By routing everything through this central framework, you establish a single control plane. You can enforce consistent governance, share prompt templates, and strictly monitor which agents have access to which tools. A hybrid AI strategy will inevitably break down without a robust central orchestration layer managing the identity and logic flow. This architecture demonstrates sovereign AI using Treecapital AI's Anven ecosystem. You see the retrieval augmented generation pipeline injecting context directly into the inference engine. By deploying Anven within air-gapped virtual private clouds, the entire pipeline operates behind your firewall. You guarantee absolute data sovereignty and zero exfiltration to public networks. This localized RAG architecture allows your agents to safely process highly sensitive internal knowledge bases without triggering compliance violations. To keep the costs of running this private infrastructure manageable, organizations are deploying optimized, quantized 3 billion parameter models. These run highly efficiently at the edge or on-premise, severely reducing the hardware memory overhead while maintaining accuracy. To operate safely at scale, enterprise AI must be treated as a heavily governed private digital asset rather than a service you rent by the token. Making this work requires separating your physical infrastructure decisions from your overarching strategic workflows. The path you choose depends entirely on your specific constraints. This decision tree maps the criteria. Choose the reuse path if your workflows are highly standardized, your engineering teams are small, and generic outputs meet your business requirements. Commit to the build path if you are developing custom internal workflows unique to your IP, and you have the long-term engineering capacity to maintain them. Select the hybrid plus sovereign orchestration path, utilizing systems like Anven if you operate in regulated industries like healthcare or finance. This is the requirement when you need specialized agentic workflows, but must maintain strict, isolated data privacy. Whichever path you take, you must prioritize your data infrastructure and layered governance at the very beginning of the adoption lifecycle. A model's intelligence only matters if the underlying architecture is secure and orchestrated enough to let it work.